Hello everyone, this is Caroline Cooper from Naturally Loyal, giving you 7 keys to staying on your customer's radar so that you can tap into the easy business that's right under your nose. So first of all, I'd like to start by thinking about why is it so important that we stay on our customer's radar? Well, if we think about how much effort we put into attracting customers in the first place, so all of the investment in marketing, we want to make sure that once we've attracted the attention of those people, that they stay with us and they stay on our radar. So it could be that at this stage they've only made an inquiry, but they've not actually spent any money with us. It could be that they've just come in for a cup of coffee, paid £5–10 with us, and again we'd obviously want them to come back again and spend more with us at a later date. Or it could be that they've actually spent hundreds, maybe even thousands of pounds with us, and that's great that we've had that bit of business, but wouldn't it be fantastic if they come back again or they tell all their friends about us? And the trouble is that however good you are, first of all, you're only as good as the last experience that somebody has had with you. And it's so easy. People are just bombarded with so much information, so much choice, that unless you stand out and you stay on their radar, it's just so easy for them to go somewhere else and get the same sort of experience in their mind. It may not be the same, but their perception is that they can actually get the same from somebody else, that it's just that little bit more front of mind, more convenient. So it's absolutely critical that people that have already raised their hands, shown an interest in what you do, either through making an inquiry or having already done some business with you, that you are the person then that they then come back to, and you are the person that they recommend to their friends or their colleagues when they say, oh, you went to so-and-so recently, were they any good? And you can't even remember the name of the place that you visited. Now that is just such a waste. So I'm going to be taking you through very briefly, just skimming the surface on what I believe are the 7 most important keys for staying on your customer's radar. So let's kick off. Hello, this is Caroline Cooper from Naturally Loyal, bringing you the 7 keys to staying on your customer's radar so you can tap into that easy business that's really right under your nose. So let's first of all think about, well, why is it so important to stay on your customer's radar? Now, when I say customers, we could be talking here people who have at this stage just made an inquiry, so haven't actually spent any money with you. We could be talking about people that have just come in for a couple of cups of coffee and a piece of cake and spent a tenner with you. Or we could be talking about people that have spent hundreds, maybe even thousands of pounds with you. Whichever bracket they fall into, they are people who have already raised their hands and shown an interest in what you have to offer. Unlike the people who you might be marketing to who haven't yet shown an interest. So if you've already got their attention, it's a lot easier to convert that either into business if they're not already trading with you, or to convert that into more business or referral business when they've already raised their hands and shown an interest. And if you think how much money, time, effort you've already invested in getting people's attention in the first place through your marketing, doesn't it now make sense to do something with it and keep those people engaged? So what we're going to be doing in this short video is just giving you what I believe are the 7 keys for staying on your customer's radar so that when they're ready to buy, they remember who you are. When they want to come and spend a little bit more, maybe that £10 that they spent is just literally giving you a little bit of a recce, seeing what you've got to offer. Or when they've already spent a lot of money with you and they've had a great experience, to ensure that they then go and tell all their friends, family and colleagues as well so that they come back. So let's start off then with the first key. And the first key is finding a way to connect with them in the first place. Now, I used to say it was all about getting their email address, and that is obviously a big part of it. And I will be using email marketing as one of the examples that we use, but it's not the only way. It could be that we want to find a way to connect with through text or phone. So do we need a mobile number or a landline number? Direct mail isn't dead. So think about getting people's physical mailing address if you're going to be wanting to send something out through the post. And I know that there's a bigger cost associated with that, but do you know, even if it costs you 10 times as much, if it's 10 times more effective than email, then it's worth doing, isn't it? You might be thinking about, where do people socialise? If people like to do business more face-to-face than remotely, then thinking about, where do people socialise? Where do they go and find out about what's happening? So fairs or events or trade shows. Are they the type of people who are more likely to hang out on social media? And in which case, which platform do they like? Are they going to be looking at pictures on Pinterest? Do they like to have a nice long chat on Facebook? Or are they short, sharp tweets on Twitter? So find out what's going to be best for your particular audience. And then once you've got your details of those people, then also think about how you might segment them, because the sort of message that you want to get in front of somebody who has only at this point made an inquiry with you compared with somebody that's already spent hundreds of pounds with you is going to be a very different message. So also, once you actually collect all your data, find a way to segment it as well. And you know, it doesn't matter if you're starting from nothing. It's never too late to start collecting those details. So once we've got their details, I'm sure we've all parted with some of our personal details, and then 5 minutes later we have regretted it because we then get bombarded with, we feel like we're being stalked almost, or we get loads of spam from them. So the second thing that we need to do is to build that trust and credibility. We don't want people to suffer from that buyer's remorse and regret having passed on their details. They've given you permission to stay in touch with them, so we need to respect that. So it's not all about the hard sell. So give them something that is of value. Maybe it's letting them know what you've got on offer. It could be as simple as sharing your opening times, sample menus, that type of thing. Or it could be a little bit more in depth. For example, if you know that your particular target audience has a particular interest because it's part of what you do, then you can share some stories around that. Share your own story. But what you're aiming to do here is to build that rapport early on. And do that also quickly. If you've met somebody and you say that you're going to get something in the post to them, get it in the post that day or at the least the day after. If somebody has signed up to a newsletter or to be on your mailing list, make sure they get some confirmation straight away so that they are then reassured that they've done it right, and also that they know when to expect something from you. Because if it's 4 weeks before they hear from you, by the time that little email pops into their mailbox, they will have forgotten and they won't recognise the name, and you know what will happen? They'll just press the delete key. And also, it depends also what you have promised. So if, for example, with email marketing, also that if you want people to come on your list, you need to give them a taster of what they're going to get. Not a newsletter. That's boring. What are you going to be giving them? And having told them what they're going to get, you now build trust and credibility by delivering what you have promised. So if they're going to get offers and deals is what you need to be sending them. Now, you're only as good as the last encounter, so think about leaving a great lasting impression. So if we're talking here people that we've not yet done business with, but they've actually signed up to be on our mailing list, or they have parted with their contact details, then making sure that everything we send out obviously is creating that right impression. If they are people that have already done business with us, do something that actually is going to stand out in their mind for the right reasons. So, for example, example that I use is restaurants, making sure that when you are ready to leave, that you can find somebody and you're not hanging around to part with your money. Or when you're in a hotel, that you're not queuing to check out, because that's what people will remember. What's the last thing that people see, hear or feel, or maybe even smell or taste, if you're dealing with food, when they leave you? Also giving them those little personal touches, something that will linger in their mind after they've left. A little memento, a little personal touch, even as simple as helping them pull out of your car park on a really busy day if onto a busy main road. Do something that is remarkable. And when we say remarkable, that is something that is worthy of remarking on. So something that when they get back to their office, or when they get back to work after their long weekend away, or they're meeting with their friends next time, that it's something that they feel that they want to share because it was great. So if people have now parted with their details, or they've spent money with you, the next thing we want to do is really show that we appreciate that. So it could be, yeah, we appreciate that they've parted with their details. It could be that we appreciate, yes, they have just spent 10, 15, 20,000 pounds for a big event or a wedding, whatever it might be, and obviously everything in between. So how do we show our appreciation? Well, the first and most simple thing to do is to say thank you. So whether that is thanking people for signing up to your newsletter, or whether it is thanking them for booking their event with you, we do that in a sincere way. And this is one of the easiest ways to follow up after somebody has left you, is just send them a little thank you note of some description. Now that might be via email, because if you're a restaurant, for example, and you are doing 100 covers a night, it's not going to be practical to send something in the post for all of your diners. But sending a simple email out the next day saying thank you, particularly, obviously they've parted with their details already, but this isn't about being on the mailing list. This is a little bit more individual, that says thank you, hope you really enjoyed your meal last night, and refer to something that you had on the menu if appropriate, but making it that little bit more personal. If their spending warrants it, send them a little thank you card in the post. For the price of a stamp and a card, it's going to cost you, what, £1.20, £1.30, at the most £2. If somebody's spending hundreds of pounds with you, that's nothing, is it? And the great thing about something landing on somebody's doormat is nobody else is doing it, so it gets their attention. But because it's something physical and it's got a nice picture on it, they put it on their mantelpiece or they put it on their desk, and people say, "Oh, who's that from then?" And it creates a discussion point. So it's not just that flash in the pan that they remember, 5 minutes later or the next day. It probably sits there for, potentially 2 or 3 weeks. And if it's a really nice picture that you've got on there, maybe even longer. So that's a great way for staying on people's radar. But the other thing to show your appreciation is do something that is exclusive for your existing customers. So you know how galling it is when you see that you've been loyal to a particular business and they have got something to lure in, or they've got some offer or deal that's only available to new customers, but you as a loyal customer don't get benefit of it. It seems crazy, because all that's encouraging you to do is to go and shop around for other people that are doing similar sort of deals. So stand out. Give them something that actually they wouldn't want to lose. Exclusivity that only existing customers have access to. And if you give something to somebody else, they're far more likely to do something for you or give something back, which may be just coming and spending another £10 on another couple of cups of coffee, bringing their friends with them, referring other business, or maybe next time they're going to come in for the full-blown meal or the full-blown event. You just don't know. So showing your appreciation is the easiest way to stay in touch with people after they've done business with you. But it's not just a one-hit wonder. We need to stay engaged. We need that little drip, 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 drip approach. So we need to keep it going. Absolute minimum, something they need to see from you every month. Any longer than that, they forget who you are. And people always say to me, "Oh, Caroline, well, won't they think that I'm spamming them if I send something out every month or every week?" Not if you're giving them something of value that they're interested in hearing about. So yeah, if all you want to do is send them offers and deals that they're not interested in, or do sell, 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 yes, they will get fed up and they will not be interested in staying in touch with you any longer. But if you give them something of interest, get the conversation going. Tell them about your refurbishments and how fantastic it's going to be when it's finished, and maybe some of the lessons that you've learned along the way. Tell them about an event. Yes, it might have come and gone, but hey, that just tells them that you would do that type of event, and if you want to be involved next time, you ought to be reading what I'm sending out so that you don't miss out. If you're known for a particular product or a particular experience, talk about that. Talk about other people's experiences when they've been with you, because again, that helps to build that credibility. But the key thing is stay on their radar, and there are lots more tips on how to do that if you're going to do that through email marketing, through my 10 top tips for getting started with email marketing. So that's something that you can download from our website. But of course, all of this is about actually getting some action. So you also need a call to action. So when you are contacting people, do have in mind what you want people to be doing as a result. Are we just here about building credibility? Are we sharing things that are going to make their life a little bit easier? So it could be just directions to find you. It could be letting them know what's coming up over the coming months. But if you actually want them to pick up the phone, click on a link to your website, or come along to a particular event, make that absolutely clear. Have that very, very specific call to action so that people can find it really easily. And don't be afraid to repeat it. Make it eye-catching and add in a little bit of scarcity and urgency. So that call to action might mean that they have to book by Friday. Or this offer ends at such and such a time. Or it's only going to be for the first 10 people that contact us. Or we've only got 6 rooms available for that particular event. So there is that urgency attached to it. And then finally, none of this is going to happen unless you have some kind of strategy or system in place. So first of all, in terms of your strategy, we talked earlier, there are lots of different ways in which you can stay on people's radar. So whether that is through email marketing, whether it's through picking up the telephone and talking to people, whether it's through direct mail and something landing on people's in their post box, whether it's through face-to-face networking, whether it's through social media, whether it's through local PR and press coverage, any of those things, you need to have them in sync. You need to have a strategy in place. You need to have a plan in place. So if you are talking about an event that you've got coming up during the summer holidays and you want that everything that's happening in the couple of weeks before that, all about that event, or at the point that they need to book, all about that event, so that everywhere they see it, it's just reinforcing the message. So get all of that set up so that you know in advance, not sitting there the day that you have to send out your newsletter thinking, oh, I can't think what to talk about today. And then, of course, it doesn't happen. Systems, automate as much as you can. So with social media, you can have things that go out automatically. With your emailing, using an emailing system that will enable you, first of all, that when people sign up, that they'll get an automatic confirmation, and that once they've got that, is that you can then send out broadcasts and segment your list if you need to. And there are loads of different systems out there, and I'm not going to go into that today. And then schedule what's going to be happening when. So everything is integrated. Because remember, out of sight is out of mind. And if you don't stay on people's radar, you'll be losing a massive, massive opportunity. So this is what I would like you to think about as a result of this little presentation. First of all, reflect back on those 7 keys. How do you feel that you do in each area? So how do you perform in each of those 7 keys? So just to remind you, they were: find a way to connect, building trust and credibility, leaving a great lasting impression, showing your appreciation, engaging with your audience, having a call to action, and having a strategy and systems in place. Where do you excel? Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. If there are things that you do really well, that sometimes gives you a little bit of a clue as to where your strengths are and what you're going to enjoy doing as well. So particularly when we're talking about the different media that you use. But also reflect on what else could you do to improve and to stay on your customer's radar much more effectively so that you can be converting that inquiry into a firm booking. That £10 coffee and cake into a full-blown meal or a visit or an event or a long weekend. Staying on their radar so that the people who have already spent hundreds of pounds with you remember who you are when they're asked for a referral, and that they come back again, maybe not this year, but next year or the year after, or maybe even 3 or 4 years down the track. If you stay on their radar, that's far more likely to happen. Now, during this, we talked quite a lot about email marketing, and if that's something that is important to you, if you wanted to get started on email marketing, if you're not already doing that, then have a look at www.naturallyloyal.com email, and there is some more information there and some information that you can download as well. So this is Caroline Cooper from Naturally Loyal, giving you the 7 keys for staying on your customers' radar. Look forward to speaking to you again soon. Bye for now.